Now to the heated debate over hate speech in Karnataka as the state government tabled the Hate Speech and Hate Crimes Prevention Bill 2025 in the Karnataka Assembly at Belagavi today. Can hate speech be regulated in the Indian context? Is there fear of abuse of such a law to target free speech by the enforcement agencies? Those are major concerns, but also the concern of hate speech itself rising on social media, a key worry. The bill proposes 1 to 7 years in jail for the first-time offenders and up to 10 years for repeat offenders. Along with hefty fines, it defines hate speech broadly as any expression, and I quote, intended to cause injury, disharmony, or hatred against a person, alive or dead, group, class, or community in furtherance of a prejudicial interest. The BJP is accusing the government of wanting the bill to self-stifle opposition in the state, divert attention from the government's failures, and pursue appeasement politics. Apart from expanding the definition of hate speech, the bill also makes all offences non-bailable, allows courts to avoid victim compensation, enables blocking of online hate content, and even holds organizations criminally liable. So multiple questions raised over this bill. Listen to the reactions before we head to a hate speech face-off on the show this evening.
Of course, hate speech is a part of the government's agenda. You can't allow all this hate speech to happen. And we have to maintain peace, law and order in the state.
Hate speech bill is nothing but leftist agenda of Siddaramaiah. He wants to bring in these kind of things and divert the attention of the people, and in order and continue the appeasement politics what he believes in.
Well, for the face-off this evening, Kushal Mehra, author and podcaster, Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, joining me this evening. Both a request to both you gentlemen, no hate speech today on this show. Kushal Mehra, my question to you straight. While you have argued that there need not be any great restriction on hate speech, it is becoming an enormous social evil. You quote the American context in some of your tweets, but there is also a European context and other conversations around this.
Good evening. I quote the American context from the baseline that they have the most rational speech laws that exist on planet Earth. Just because the Europeans have, in fact, in the same tweet, I do mention that Europeans and the Canadians have hate speech laws. And I followed up by saying, I use the example of Snyder versus Phelps, which is a famous judgment in the United States of America, which is about the it's about the Baptist church and how the members of the church go outside army veterans and they have hateful posters, and the courts allowed that. The point being that it's very hard to define what hate speech is. And this legislation, I mean, I've read crazy laws in India. I already thought India has crazy laws, but this takes it to another level because it's non-bailable, and it creates a special privilege, especially in the case of religions. I am a disbeliever. Now, I find many verses in multiple religious texts to be absolutely hateful. But religions are allowed to have that hate privilege. Right. But I'm not, as a disbeliever, allowed to hate those verses of a religion. What kind of a society are we trying to create? Are we giving some special privilege to religious people? What happened to the rights of disbelievers? That's my question.
You're raising a very, very important question. Syed Asad Abbas, the point is that a law of this nature, while it may be okay even in the letter, and here there are questions over the extent to which punishment is defined and the extent to which hate speech is defined as well by law. Fact is that they are bound for blatant misuse. Isn't that a key concern when a law of this nature is brought before the Assembly for discussion?
Absolutely not, Veera Saab. As a matter of fact, this is indeed the need of the hour. I've followed this bill. I've also gone through the very important aspects of this bill, and I can tell you this is the need of the hour. It is important to have the law, order, police in hand. Bills, policies are introduced for the betterment of the people. If the same bill, Syed
Asad Abbas, was brought in by the central government, I can challenge you, you will be up in arms against it.
Absolutely not. I will not be, because I've read the Karnataka hate speech or hate crime prevention bill, and I'll tell you why. Dear panelists, today was speaking of religion. Respected sir, I request you to please go to the facets of the bill. It is not just religion. any hate speech or a crime made against any religion, gender, caste, race, all of these come under the bill. It's not merely religion. The fact of the matter is, Veera Saab, we need to question the Bharatiya Janata Party. Why are they so unsettled with this bill? Is it that they piggyback on hate speech and hate crime, that they are taking it as a personal insecurity today? I'd really like to question the leaders of Karnataka government of the BJP.
No, you can question the BJP, but I don't have a BJP spokesperson on the panel. I want this discussion, Syed Asad Abbas, to be only about hate speech and whether it can be regulated, and if it can be regulated, how and how far can we go with it? Kushal, very briefly respond to what Syed Asad Abbas is saying, which is that you desperately do need laws or some restrictions to contain and control hate speech, which has reached some enormous proportions.
All right. So, he's right. They talk about religion, race, caste or community, sex, gender, sexual orientation, place of birth, residence, language, disability or tribe. Here's my thing, Veera. If somebody says, I hate Mumbai, I really hate Delhi, what's the problem? You're not allowed to hate a place? You're not allowed to, or tomorrow somebody, we are extending the definition of what is sacred in this country already. First it was about gods, goddesses. Then it became about certain political figures, irrespective of the political parties they belong to. Then it became about religious figures, whether it's prophets or, gurus or godmen. It just keeps expanding. We keep expanding the sacred in this country. Tomorrow, what will be sacred? You can't insult my place of birth, which this bill intends. Tomorrow, if somebody says, damn, I hated that city, man, I visited that city. Why is that not hate speech? I'm literally hating that city. Are you telling me I'm not allowed to hate cities now? I think some parts of Delhi suck.
Kushal, you're making an important point, but let me just put the context that what you're asking goes to the core of 19.1 and 19.2 of the Constitution in terms of reasonable restrictions, and that's where the core of the issue lies, and that is a larger debate. But Syed Asad Abbas, the other point and the nuanced point that Kushal is raising is that tomorrow, who defines what is hate speech? Because when you have such a strong law of this nature passed, then the definition of hate speech also rests with the prosecutor. And that could mean the process is punishment for somebody who has just expressed their hate towards, let's say, a city or something of that nature without any great intent.
Veera Saab, you're a smart, intelligent man, and I can tell you, even if it is a 5-year-old kid can call out if it is hate speech or a love speech. Hating a city or hating food is not hate speech, sir. Hate speech or a hate crime is with the intent that you make to cause disharmony in public, to cause grievous harm to a person. Your actions, your words in written or publication are causing harm to them. And therefore that results in disharmony. Also, as a matter of fact, this is not going to be a kangaroo court, sir. There is going to be a first-class magistrate who is going to be there. There are going to be deputy superintendents who will be involved. And there is a clear-cut case of judgment. And also, let me tell you,
I just want you to be really honest.
Veera, I'd appreciate if you don't.
No. I just want you to be really honest. And
30 seconds, my friend.
Just ask me.
30 seconds, my friend. Please.
No, wait. Answer this question.
Seconds.
You are making all these points. All these points would have been made against a law formed by the central government saying it will be misusing agencies. The law offers the space for agencies to misuse it, whether it's state or central.
Be it the central government, be it the state government, irrespective of their rule by BJP, Congress, or any other party, I believe that the nature of hate speech and hate crime, which has come into this country over the last 11 years, is absolutely catastrophic.
Okay.
This needs to be curtailed, this to be brought to an end. Therefore, the only way to deal with it is iron hands, iron fists. That is the only way to go. You can love, hate, food, place, all right. But hating and doing a crime against somebody's sexual orientation, somebody's caste, race, religion, or a tribe, that is harmful, my friends. And that leads to people killing each other, fighting with each other. And therefore, police law intervention is the need of the hour. When imprisonment comes in,
I'll give you the last word
comes in, that controls crime. that controls crime, and that is a need of the hour, my friend, because in
All right,
India
done.
today, we need more love.
All
and
right,
don't
we need more
hate.
love, Kushal Mehra.
Well, if you need more love, then ban every single sexist verse in every single religious text. You want to start there? I can open up religious texts on this live show right now,
Okay.
cutting across
It is
all
not just
religions.
Let's not go
my
there.
friend. It is sexual orientation.
Let's not go there at the
Pride.
moment, but you're
It is
making a
class.
very important
It is
Says
point.
gender.
We are out
The
of
bill
time.
says
Why only
gender.
religion?
You see, the
Why are you
biggest
only
imposition
sexual
on freedom of
Free of only religion.
Religions
No, no, hang
don't
on, hang
like
on. The
gay
biggest
people
imposition
either.
on freedom of speech
Religions
is
don't
time.
like gay people either.
At least as far as television shows are concerned. So I'll have to leave that conversation right there. But there is an intense conversation around that bill that's been brought before the Karnataka Assembly, and that conversation is perhaps national and international in nature. That's all we have time for on the Southern View this evening. News and updates continue right here on NDTV. Thanks for watching.